first look this evening. We're going to be looking at a Nintendo Switch game for the next hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. We'll see how it goes. This is Process of Elimination that is coming out very shortly from NIS America. It is coming out on the 11th April in North America, 14th April in Europe. It's coming out on the Switch, PS4, retail and digital. Say it's from NIS America. I just want to say thank you to NIS America, especially Justin for the game key. Much appreciated. As usual, it doesn't affect any of the opinions I express during this video since they are my own. There will be spoilers in this. I'm playing this blind. I haven't played it at all, so I will be playing it from the start, so you have been warned. So this is it's about a hapless student named Wato Hojo who finds himself among a group of talented detectives and must take part in their investigation to stop a prolific serial killer that hides among their ranks. Can they solve the case before they're all eliminated? There's a demo. This is the full game. They're saying board game puzzle. So let us get back out of here and we shall load it up. See how we get on. Here we go. Hope everybody's well this evening. Yes, we will be creating new. Process of elimination. Now let me just check a few things here. That's okay. Play voices to the end. That's okay. Let me just lower this music volume down a wee bit. It's probably okay there. I will actually lower it in here as well. Right, save and exit. Right, let's start a new game. It's a rainy day in June, with clouds covering the entire nation. The live broadcast of our new gaming release is suddenly disrupted. Just lower that a wee bit more. So it's not voiced. Pardon me, but I'm conducting a quick survey. On one side, a recent grad. On the other, a total shut-in. Who do you despise more? Despise. Let's just go for the grad on the left. Thank you for your response. Now without further ado, this loathsome grad shall disappear before your very eyes. It's maybe in Japanese, is it? There was words in there, wasn't there? This individual is hereby condemned to the fate of a quartered doll. I'm just going to lower this a wee bit more. Oh, I think we all knew what that word was. Hello, dear consumers, and adieu to the consumed. It's saying it's a puzzle, puzzle type game. I'm not sure. I don't know much about it. It looked interesting. How are you, Vit, Yuri? Doing well? Welcome back. How did it feel, dismembering the vial with the simple press of a button? Quite good, no? Downright refreshing, even. It's best to eliminate those who don't share your values. Majority rules, after all. Whatever bloke thought that was truly a sadistic genius. You're trying to fall asleep, okay? Nope. The opposition may be trampled, but there exists no better system. The path to peace must be painted by the blood of the minority. Those behind this policy, the eminent among the many, give less thought to the few that they would but not. I must hand it to them. It's simply ruthless. Oh, don't look at me like that. It was a joke. A joke. I wouldn't want to get cancelled on social media over this. Hi, Luna. You been eating? Oh. Hi. How you doing? You want some space? Look, I'll move the mouse. There we go. Okay. Oh, I forgot to reset my capture card, so hopefully it'll be okay. Ah, goodness, this won't do. No, no, no. I've neglected to introduce myself. I'm so sorry. I'm Miss Grace, or is it Your Grace? Let's say Your Grace, the Quartering Duke. An entertainer come to bring amusement to your world. The Quartering Duke. From now on, every soul in this nation will be provided with entertainment to stir the mind, so please indulge until you're full to bursting. Should you object to your Grace's choice of recreation, you're invited to try and reveal his true nature. Good evening, Kaiser. How are you today? Such a show can't exist without diversity, you see. For this is a clash between tragic, savage carnage and the comical, cultural stylings of justice. Where are you going? You're good, you've been busy with Easter. Sorry you missed the stream. Oh, that's okay. As long as you're having a good time. How's your Easter prep going? Oh, we currently have about 5,000 viewers then. For tonight's final act, a question from your Grace to all our viewers at home. The individual within the animal suit became a shut-in after experiencing vicious bullying at school. No love for his mother, who raised him alone. Every day he would hit and yell at her. Before long she fell ill and died without his noticing. Ah, okay. You don't celebrate Easter in this public holiday though, so your cousin's visiting over to play Children of Morta. That's a good game, Children of Morta. I need to finish that. Yeah, it's very creepy so far. This individual was saved by your first impression. With that, I ask, do you still like him? Should over half the viewers say so, I'll release him. Yeah, I've never played it co-op. I like all the pixel art in it, it's really good. You reached the final dungeon in 2 days though, a bit short. Oh, I've played that quite a bit, but I'm nowhere near finished. I've got some videos up on YouTube on that. Yeah, I've got like 20 odd episodes, 21 episodes. 27 episodes. I can't remember, it's been so long since I played it. I'm just trying to... When was the last video for that? That must have been quite some time ago. August 2020. That's a long time. Yeah, 2 years ago. Let's really... I like him. Seems not even 500 people liked him. A shame. Nothing short of a tragedy, truly. The sorrow is too much to bear. However... The quartering Duke snaps his fingers. It's been fine so far. I did a first look in the morning, and then I was playing Vintage Story with Haas and Vincente for quite a bit in the morning, and then we've been out doing gardening in the afternoon. So it's been an okay day. I was playing the archer. Always the ranged. That is what makes this the very finest entertainment. This is a very gory game, isn't it? Alas, it will soon be time to part ways. As for myself, your Duke that is, I am the enemy of those who mindlessly consume, and a friend to those who consumed. Thus, I take my leave. Do enjoy the show. The video cuts off at 4 minutes 52 seconds. As a hacked broadcast, those who ran the website were powerless to stop it. To Zyram, good evening, how are you? The video, just shy of 5 minutes, is shared across the net, mostly among the youth. But things don't end with that. Not just the broadcasted victims, but others killed in the same manner are soon discovered. The common thread, at least 2 victims are always found at once, with their lock screens set to the symbol of the quartering Duke. The police pour all of their resources into investigating the case, but turn up nothing. Pair by pair, more and more bodies surface, until half a year later over 100 have been killed since the first broadcast. The sheer number of victims and brutality of the murders fling society into chaos. I'm just checking something. No. The Quartering Duke, an entertainer? What's he doing? What he's doing is basically a snuff show. I grip my phone tight as I read the articles about the murders, speaking aloud despite myself. I've seen the effects of this Duke all around me. People are terrified to go outside, and stores have even shortened their hours. What's worse, he's gained some traction among young copycats taken by his charisma. With the police overwhelmed, small private agencies like mine are in huge demand. Apparently even the FBI is getting involved. Past events have already stoked the need for this line of work, but the Duke has only made things worse. The media jeers at the detective craze. Mr. Gunjuji says the ideal society is a peaceful one, where detectives are starved for work. He may be right about that. As I lay and wait for my mark, I recall my mentor's words and sigh to myself. This is a Nintendo Switch game. So it's not on Steam. It's on PlayStation, PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch. It's coming out next week. I got sent a copy from NIS America. I work for the Gunjuju. Why did they have to pick a difficult name for their detective agency? Joji? The GDA is probably one of the funnier agencies around, though nowadays we're buzzing with activity. I'm a student working part-time, but they plan to recruit me once I've graduated. The situation must be getting pretty serious nationwide. An ideal society has no use for detectives, huh? The thought alone makes me a bit miserable. Is this the reality faced by all aspiring detectives? Okay, that's enough of that. My worries run wild when I'm on my own. It's a bad habit, but I've got to focus on work. There he is, my mark is on the move. That's quite the moustache, isn't it? So how's your day been, Tuzome? And Vit, Yuri, you've been up to anything today? Huh? Sundercat. Thank you very much for the raid. It's much appreciated. Welcome along, raiders. Thank you, Kaiser. Dead Space. How you been getting on with Dead Space? After a moment's pause, the man clad in a trench coat starts off down the road again. It's a cat raid. More cats. Every cat is welcome. I don't have any cats. Baron's not in his basket just now. Or I put him up on camera. He's not here just now. Thank you for the raid. It's been a lazy day for you, Vit. The best sort of day. Ginkodono, hello. Welcome to the channel. I hope everybody's doing well. We're just playing this, this is a game that's coming out next week on the Nintendo Switch from NIS America. We're just working our way through it. Give it a quick look this evening. I make sure I'm out of earshot before calling in my report, just as my mentor had instructed. For anybody that hasn't been here before, this is my general schedule. Well, this is an extra stream this evening. I make sure I am out of earshot before calling in my report, just as my mentor had instructed. Wato here. The target is on the move. He's headed right where you predicted, Mr. Gunjoji. I'll stay on the lookout for any traps as I continue tailing him. Apologies for the adverts coming in. Quiet in my steps, I follow the man cautiously. He's our top suspect in the serial pet killer case. And according to Mr. Gunjoji, he may be armed. He can't be killing all the pets. Whatever I do, I absolutely cannot allow my presence to be detected. Can I help you? Suddenly, the man is right in front of me, and I reflectively take a step back. Did he notice me following him, despite the cover of darkness and my voice being out of earshot? No, I'm all good. I'm actually running late for cram school. So gotta go. This is a detective type game, it says. A lot of puzzles in it. Not that we've got past any of the talking yet, but to do anything. As I try to move past him, the man blocks my path. I doubt you'll make it in time if you keep matching my pace and stopping every time I do. He's obviously spotted us following him. Your expression gives me everything away. Gives everything away. -1 point. Not that you should really be that surprised. Novacat, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. Why didn't my I didn't get a notification up there. I wonder if my Streamlabs bot switched itself off. Let me just double check that. No, it is still on. Let me just toggle it. Because it should have shown a little notification there and it didn't. So I apologize, Novacat. You would only stop on a completely empty street like this if you were tailing someone. That or checking if someone's tailing you. So the very act of pausing here was a trap. How could I make such a rookie mistake? I didn't even register with me. I have no one to blame but myself. I would look like this guy if I don't shave in a day and curse with catfish moustache. You're a fresh face. Who are you? Certainly no detective or policeman, given your noisy slipshod attempt at shadowing me. No, no detective. Blood rushes to my face. I've poured everything into becoming a detective. His words sting worse than a slap to the face. There's no way I can just let it slide. Don't patronize me. I'm Wato Hojo, assistant at the GDA. We already know you've been snooping around here and that you have a knife. You're suspected of severe animal abuse. Now, come quietly. I'm turning you into the police. I'd hoped the edge in my voice would intimidate him, but the man only lets out an exasperated sigh. Okay, Kaiser, yeah, I will be playing Zelda tomorrow morning. You sleep well? Thanks for dropping in past. Actually, giving out your name, -3 points. This isn't some TV show, kid. Real detectives never reveal their true identities. I bet you can't get enough of those over-the-top crime dramas, can you? As much as I hate it, he's read me like a completely open book. The moment a detective reveals himself always seems so cool on television. But he's right, sharing your identity in this line of work is far too dangerous. Something to keep in mind next time. Oh, we've got to change our music. Does the detective's assistant plan to arrest me all on his own? A grown man you fully believe to be armed? The man slides his hand into his pocket and readies his stance. He's clearly holding a weapon. This isn't the first time I've gone up against someone armed with a knife, but I still feel my hair standing on end. My heart slams frantically against my ribcage as I freeze up, willing my trembling legs to remain steady. No, I know I'm not ready for that, so instead I called for backup. I just need to buy time until my boss arrives. You think you can buy yourself time, Mr. Wannabe Detective? I will, in fact, I have to. One of the pets you killed belonged to a classmate of mine. She's still terrified and traumatized as a result of your prowling about. Being a detective, it's my duty to stop you. Bringing you to justice is the only way to restore the peace in her life. I'll be damned if I let you escape. I tear off my jacket and wrap it around my left wrist to form a makeshift glove, a guard against his knife. In my dominant hand, I grip a pair of handcuffs like brass knuckles. Armed as best I can, I face off with the man. The man just watches me, showing no signs of movement. Good. He's probably never seen anyone use handcuffs for self-defense before. It's only natural he'd be wary. I learned this trick from Mr. Ganjoju. What's great about it is, it never fails to catch people by surprise the first time. I need to stall this out, even if it's just for a little while. Keeping this face-off going is my top priority. The Ikusuku School of Arrest Techniques, I take it. Quite the rare fighting style picked up by... I'm struck speechless. What are the odds he'd know this tactic? I fumble for an answer, but my mind goes blank. いくら珍しい格闘術といえど、この世界に長らく身を置く者には通じない。Are we ever going to get to some action? Paralyzed in the face of an enemy, minus 5 points. Don't expect odd techniques to phase a man of my age. It would work on your typical criminal, however, and you were quick to adapt when all the odds were stacked against you. He's probably some sort of instructor, isn't he? その探偵としての光る資質10点をやるぞ少年リーダーがお前さんを押すのもうなずけるな That's an exemplary quality on the detective. You get 10 points, kid. I see why the chief endorsed you. The man suddenly backs down and speaks with a smile. Wait, what? Is this another trap? Glancing my way, he continues. Sorry for the misunderstanding, but the culprit you've been looking for is the victim's neighbor. I've already handed him over to the police. No job, no comfort, no direction in life, until he became obsessed with the quartering duke and decided to follow in his footsteps. He couldn't work up the nerve to hack people apart, but animals gave him no trouble at all. Disgusting. But who are you exactly? Upon hearing my question, the man pulls what looks to be a tablet out of his pocket. The screen shows a familiar symbol and the words Detective Alliance. The Detective Alliance? I can't help but yell out the name. The Detective Alliance, the very organization I revere more than anything else. So, 私は国内で唯一の国家公認の探偵組織 That's right. I'm part of the Detective Alliance, the only government-recognized detective organization in the country. I'm sure an aspiring detective like yourself has heard of it. Of course, it's a mysterious coalition of 100 renowned detectives that always sends the perfect match for the job. The Alliance has solved every case it's ever had, and each of its members has an alias based on their defining traits. Wato is sounding very excited. It looks like you know quite a bit about this mysterious coalition, Detective Fanboy. As I calm down, my face begins to burn bright red. I had let my excitement carry me away on a totally nerdy rant. Still, the Detective Alliance has been the dream I've aspired to ever since I learned about it from Mr. Ganjoji. The D-pad you're holding is a hallmark of none other than the Alliance itself. You really are a detective, aren't you? Bingo. Call me Senior Detective. Been in the Alliance for eons. Though these days I mostly scout recruits and provide support. Still, none of the younger generation can out-investigate me, especially with cases as cold as that pet killer one. I'd like to get some action. As prideful as he sounds, I can tell by his expression that he's speaking purely from well-earned experience. He has an air about him that's unlike anyone I've ever met, the kind that could only come from a member of the Detective Alliance. As secretive as it is, the Detective Alliance has grown more famous by the day thanks to the recent detective craze. Even now the news is full of stories about the cases cracked by Detective Alliance members. Then there's all the terrorist plots in the wake of the Quarter and Duke incidents that they've thwarted with almost zero leads. The whole reason I joined a detective agency was to carve a path to earning a spot alongside those detectives one day. Looked up to by detectives far and wide, the Detective Alliance is the absolute paragon for those pursuing justice. I apologize for my rudeness, Senior Detective. Sir, shouting accusations at you when I couldn't be more clueless. Don't be. I was egging you on after all. No need for the sir either. In our field, the alias itself serves as a title of respect. Though Senior Detective amicably shrugs off my apology, his unmistakable calm only makes me wary of where this is going. Then, as if noticing how on edge I look, he continues to speak. I'll cut to the chase. I'm here to scout you. We plan to meet at our base of operations to discuss how to handle. Sorry, I hit a key by accident there. I respond lamely, unable to fully grasp what he's saying. I'll say it again. We want you to join our investigation of the Quarter and Troop case as a member of the Detective Alliance. The sound I make is so shrill and alien I scare even myself. I pinch my cheek to make sure this isn't just some dream. Oh, no, not a dream. Maybe this is Mr. Gunjoji's idea of a prank. No sign of him anywhere, so probably not. Which means... This isn't a joke, right? Not at all. We've received direct orders from the government to put an end to the Quarter and Troop's reign of terror. A chosen few detectives will convene at the HQ to solve this case and take down the most vile homicidal maniac of the century. My mind goes blank again. But if this is real, then my dream has come true far sooner than I have ever imagined. There's so much I could learn. So many accomplished detectives I could meet. Ideal detectives, like the one I aspire to be, the kind who could have prevented the tragedy that unfolded before my eyes 10 years ago. I'm sure you have a million questions, but I want to hear what you intend first. Will you join us at the table and help stop the Quarter and Troop? Give me your answer, yes or no? Well, this is going to have to be yes, isn't it? How can I hesitate? I state my intentions loud and clear. Yes or yes? Which one will we go for? The moment I try to answer, Senior Detective's arm hooks around my neck and begins to squeeze like a vice. It's so tight I can't breathe. I flail and kick frantically, but all I hit is the air on the ground below my feet. I feel a prick as a slender needle pierces the skin of my neck. What's going on here then? What feels like liquid ice begins to pump through my veins. My skin turns pale, my limbs go numb, and my strength fades. My vision blurs as my legs start to give out. I sag against the man restraining me. And then, as if the stars have been swept from the night sky, everything goes black. Well, it's true that I asked. There was never actually the option to refuse. For you see, you have a duty to attend the Detective Elimination project. Ah, I haven't felt this way in a long time. My consciousness drags sluggishly, as if I'm trapped in thick mud, helplessly sinking deeper and deeper. As much as I try to shut it out, the traumatic nightmare pulls me in once again. In my dream, I'm running down a dark, frigid corridor, holding on tight to the hand of a girl my age. Wato, I can't run anymore. You need to go on without me. You have to escape. What are you saying, Seika? We're getting out of here together. I made a promise, didn't I? But my legs... The girl is beautiful, with bewitching black hair, pure white skin and light purple eyes reminiscent of hydrangeas. I remember nothing else about her, but I'm sure that at the time she was very precious to me. And then... Right before my eyes, a blade swings down and slashes her, covering her in a burst of red. I clutch onto her before she can collapse and face the criminal that did this to her. What on earth is that? The massive, unmistakably inhuman silhouette emits a strange mechanical whirl. Whir? Its murderous intent is nearly enough to pierce through flesh as it focuses on me. I prepare to die as no more than a child. But at that moment... Wato. The girl in my arms strains to get the words out as her voice begins to fail. I might escape if I leave her now and run. But maybe I can still save her. There's no way I can just abandon her. I have to live. Become the hero who will save everyone. I don't think I need to say that now. That's all I can remember. My memory cuts out completely, as if the next page has been torn out. However, since I'm alive, it's obvious what came after. I traded Seika's life to save my own. This was the mass kidnapping and confinement incident I was in a decade ago. The reason I became a detective. A shadowy organization took 16 children and locked them in an underground prison for a month, never to be caught. Am I supposed to just live with the sacrifices that came out of that, like Seika? I was too incompetent to save even one girl, but I refused to leave it there. My heart and soul demand I see it through. I will become a great detective, a hero, and one day I'll reveal the truth behind what happened 10 years ago. Day 1, the afternoon. I finally came to. My eyelids are so heavy, just opening them is an undertaking. That one was a long dream. It was one I've had countless times before, of that fateful day I swore I'd become a detective. That incident remains unsolved to this day. What really happened all those years ago? As a survivor, the vague testimony I provided didn't help much. The case has gone cold for 10 years now. I've got to find the truth, to track down the villain who killed Seika, the girl I owe my life to. That's why I entered this line of work. But that aside, my whole body is aching right now. My mattress feels like a rock and smells like rust. I managed to pry my eyes open, but everything's pitch black. What's more, I can't even move. My limbs are restrained like I've been wrapped in some kind of sleeping bag. Don't tell me I'm trapped in here. What's going on? Mustering all my strength, I tried to worm my way out. Suddenly my vision is flooded by a bright light. Whatever restrained me slackens as my own momentum forces me upright. The sight I met with is... a forest. Oh, I got that right. And that sound, are those ocean waves? Lush woodland lies before my eyes. You've been here a while and you've come to realise you would happily listen to me reading an audiobook. It's kind of you to say, Random. How are you this evening? How are you doing? Have you had a good Friday? I saw you on playing more Satisfactory, I thought. Is that not working? Why is it not working today?
No!
I've just re-enabled it, it's not working. Oh, it's disabled again. Let me just do that again. Streamlabs is not playing ball today. There we go. That's it working now.
Right, ready?
You had a good day. That's good. Glad you did.
Yes!
It's been really nice up here. Very sunny. You might be slightly addicted to Satisfactory. Maybe this is why I've not played it again. I think I spent hours playing it when I first got it. But I haven't been back to it for quite some time now. Random Bloke is another fellow Scottish streamer. Well worth watching. Throw him a follow if you can. Let me carry on reading this. I still haven't managed to get into any action on this game. Lush woodland lies before my eyes. Beneath me is an old rusty locker. Guess that's what I've been stuffed in just a second ago. My whole body's killing me. How long was I crammed inside this thing? Oh, you're welcome. I enjoy your streams. Who would do this to me, and why? When did I even get here? What the heck is going on? My head swirls in confusion as I try to recall what happened last. But I was right. I met that old man, senior detective, and then... The haziness clears as I begin to remember. I was suddenly attacked by Senior Detective and eventually lost consciousness. He claimed to be part of the Detective Alliance, but maybe that was just a bluff. Wait, if he was lying about being part of the DA, that means the pet killer's still at large. I've got to get back, ASAP. He does get overexcited, this guy. I reached to grab my smartphone, but after a frantic search, I realised that my front pockets have been emptied. As I continue searching my person, I notice an unfamiliar weight in my back pocket. It's weird. I don't normally keep stuff back there. Suspicious. I carefully pluck the foreign object from my pocket. It's a tablet. It's a tablet device, like the oversized smartphone, more or less. The moment I see it, though, a chill runs down my spine. No way, is this... I lift it up, touching the buttons out of habit. Then a notification appears. Authentication successful. Yeah, it must be really big. Maybe he's just got one big pocket. Right across his backside.
Ohayo, Hojo Wato-kun.
Good morning, Wato Hojo. Seems you got your D-pad working. Sure you were drugged, but sakes alive, boy. Like cold for 3 days straight, -1 point. As the tablet comes to life, a familiar voice emanates from the speaker. This is Senior Detective, the agent who brought you here. We met 3 days ago. Though to you, I suppose it'd feel like it only just happened. Wait, I was out for 3 days? So, Senior Detective's the one reaching out to me. I knew I recognized his voice from before. Still, his tone is pretty nonchalant for a kidnapper. I can't help but feel irritated. While I'm certain you think I've deceived you, you are in fact the newest member of the Detective Alliance. If you doubt me, view the detective roster on your D-pad. That electronic device you know is a trademark of the Alliance. As an official member of the Alliance, your personal information should already be recorded in the database. I open up the tablet and look through the roster he mentioned. There, I find my profile, beginning with my full legal name. A new keyword unlocked, okay. Detective rank. Number 100. Yep, that's me. It even lists details only Mr. Gunjuju would know. Like my skills and work experience. Ouch, my special skill is housework. I'm no great detective, sure, but that's a blow. I wonder what else is on here. It lists other detectives' ranks and aliases too, not to mention intel and investigation statuses on recent atrocities. From the latest incidents all the way back to before I was born, it's a robust selection of key documents about cases infamous to the public. Far too much for one person to read, frankly. Even at a glance, most of the content seems to be highly technical in nature. This is way too much effort for a prank, meaning the DA really did recruit me. Can I trust what Senior Detective says? So I've actually been recruited by the Detective Alliance. This isn't a joke, right, Senior Detective Sir? You're listening to a recording at present. An emergency came up, so I've hidden you in the woods while I go to address it. Ah, so that's how it is. I assumed this was a phone call, but I guess that's not the case. The device's settings must have been configured to play his voice message as soon as it finished authenticating. When you're ready, open the map on your D-pad, then make your way through the woods and head for the manor at the peak. Once there, you should soon meet the others. I promise to head over there myself once I'm able, so just wait for me in front of the manor. And one last thing, do not, under any circumstances, enter the structure or see along the way. I just want to enter the structure now. Unauthorized entry will result in far worse than a subtraction of points. Follow my orders like your very life depends on it. Senior Detective speaks without pause. The moment he's finished, the sound cuts out abruptly. I stand there in a daze, holding the tablet, my new D-pad, in one hand. I lift my head and peer through the tree line, making out the shape of a mountain with an imposing manor resting on its summit. Is that the building Senior Detective was referring to? While I don't fully trust him, my options are limited. First for choice, I open the map application on my tablet. The morgue. Various graphics appear on the screen, displaying the surrounding area. All that blue surrounding everything must be the ocean, which means I've been taken to a remote island. Morgue? Is that the name of this place? Never heard of it. Could I be in a foreign country or something? Either way, getting all gloomy won't solve things. I use my fingers to zoom in on the map, hoping to find more info to go off of. Gormenghast. I don't know if anybody else has read the books by Mervyn Peake. Gormenghast. I think it's Titus. Is Gormenghast the first one? Then you've got Titus Grown, and then Titus Alone, I think is the 3 books. They're very strange, but they're really good books. I think they made it into a BBC TV series many years ago. I can't remember who's in it now. But they are very good. They're very different. You've heard of them but not read them. I wonder why they've picked Gormenghast. The screen then displays my current location and a few details about the vicinity. Just as Senior Detective said, there seems to be some sort of manor atop the peak, plus another structure near the tree line. Without any other clues to guide me, I decide to follow Senior Detective's instructions for now. Oh, I need to register my detective alias on here, but I don't have any talents, and I definitely regret putting something random. Nope, I've got nothing. I think Zoe Wanamaker was in it, in the BBC production. The tablet hums as I trek on. Before long I see a parting in the trees. A massive heliport stretches before me. To its right sits a relatively small 3-story building. Though it blocks my line of sight, I assume that the manor is just up ahead on top of the hill. The structure here must be the one Senior Detective warned me against entering. It's not like I really trust the guy, so I'm admittedly a bit curious to sneak a peek inside. But as soon as the thought crosses my mind, a sudden sense of unease washes over me. On my tablet's map, I see numerous circular icons displayed within the building's walls. And not just a handful either. Dozens of icons crowd around like ants swarming over food. Judging by my own marker on the map, I think these icons are all people. But if that's the case, what does this mean? My apprehension refuses to die down. I get the sense that going in there would only end in regret, just as Senior Detective had warned. I need to decide my next step carefully. I will enter the building. No doubt about it. I've got to check this building out first. It'd be risky to just blindly trust Senior Detective after all. These circular icons are obviously people, which would indicate others are already in there. It makes a lot more sense to meet with them here instead of wandering around on my own. Senior Detective must be trying to prevent me from joining up with anyone else. That's got to be it. We're going in. I speak aloud, desperately trying to calm my frantic heartbeat. With great trepidation, I slowly approach the entrance. A dark shadow is faintly visible from the glass door of the building. Just as I had suspected, there are other people here. Without a moment of hesitation, I push the glass door open and rush inside. Oh, this isn't going to end well, is it? Hello, I'm the new member of the Detective Alliance, and... My voice hitches and my eyes widen like saucers as my train of thought comes to a grinding halt. All from the shock of seeing the horrific scene that lay before me. A large mound rests in the open space beyond the entryway, a haphazard pile, blackened and dead, reeking of rotten cheese and fetid garbage. Convincing myself that it's fake, I draw closer. Then I lock eyes with one, its cloudy gaze, a stark reminder of our shared mortality. Yeah, this is it, I had to go in. They give you the choice. It was too tempting not to. Jeez, grommet. It's heartbreakingly clear this corpse once belonged to a living being. Or has he just been sick? My stomach lurches, its contents spilling from my mouth. I can't take it. Sinking to my knees, I suck in heavy breaths as my heart hammers so hard it threatens to burst. Senior Detective must have known. Regret fills me for not heeding his warning. I want to run, to break away and leave this place forever. I desperately focus all my energy into every lungful of air I take. But my pulse won't slow down. In fact, it keeps growing faster. My chest burns like it's on fire. No matter how hard I try to inhale, my chest only aches more and more, until finally I can no longer breathe. What is happening? I can't. My instincts tell me I've got to get outside, but my limbs are numb from the lack of oxygen, heavy and useless, as if I'm deep and underwater. I crawl, inching along like a caterpillar, but the exit is too far away. A feeling of doom overwhelms me as my strength ebbs away. I can't breathe, I need air, I can't take any more of this. Please, help me. Desperate, I try to scream, but can't muster a sound. The pain is agonizing, all thoughts leave my head. Despite knowing no one will save me, my mind still cries out. Someone, please help. I can't breathe, it hurts, I need to get out. I don't want to die, help. Somebody please help me. We better not have to start again from the beginning. Something snaps, my vision fails, but at least the pain in my chest is finally gone. No. Okay. I guess we don't go in that building. Hey, we're back out. But has it just restored it back to where we should have not gone in? With a start, I see the heliport stretching before me once more. No, we're back out, okay. So we have been in. Okay. Wonder why it said game over, so this is all in my mind. I take deep breaths, trying to calm myself. The air tastes good somehow. Not sure why, but I feel like I just woke up from a nightmare. It's very cruel. Very. Just as I was saying, I hope this isn't game over and we have to start again. Right. I was deciding whether I should check out that building or head to the manor. Head to the peak or investigate the building. This could very well be a fateful fork in my path. I need to stay calm, think rationally, and make the right choice here. I will... I don't know. I don't know, Yuri. We're gonna have to... Oh, we can't go back in there. Yeah. Hopefully not. I decided to do what Senior Detective suggested and make my way toward the manor at the peak of the mountain. My mentor always chided me for being so rash. Maybe I wouldn't have been abducted if I had just waited for him like I was supposed to. There was no mention that this was a visual novel type game. So far it's just been all text. What's more, I get this deep feeling of dread whenever I look at that building, to the right of the heliport. I should charge them for my recording my voice for this, shouldn't I? They could just have the voice over. Have an English voiceover. Did I just read that bit? I did, didn't I? I should follow Senior Detective's voice, especially considering that he must have a way better grasp of this situation than me. What is this place? Really? This island? I make my way up the mountain, quietly, grumbling to myself, when suddenly... Okay, we've had a flashback. A chill runs down my spine. I quickly turn to look behind me. But the only thing in sight is that building. I get the strange feeling that going there would have irrevocable consequences for me. My uneasiness lingers, but I turn my back and keep going in spite of it. Okay, we've made it to the manor. I continue up the twisted mountain path for about 15 minutes, until at last I arrive at the manor door. It was a gentle incline, but I'm still spent. I wearily take a seat, resting my back against the outside wall of the manor. It's the exact kind of setting you'd expect in any mystery novel. The manor's exterior speaks to its age and smells faintly of lumber. During my approach, I could only gasp at the structure's imposing beauty. Upon closer inspection, I notice its windows are constructed from an unnaturally thick glass, impossible to break or peek through. I stand up and circle the perimeter, but there don't appear to be any points of entry aside from the front door. If anything, it seems like it was built to house prisoners, not residents. It's very calming music though, isn't it? This definitely isn't your average manor. What on earth could be waiting within? I slow down and catch my breath. My hand is damp with sweat as I turn the knob of the manor's only entrance. A loud clank rings out as it swings open with ease. The interior seems normal enough. Am I just overthinking things? I ask weakly as I take a step inside. As soon as I let go of the knob, the door closes on its own. Not one moment later. A sharp pain suddenly erupts in my head, causing me to stagger involuntarily. The shadow at my feet expands rapidly. My spine tingles as I feel something rush quickly towards me. Without even a moment of hesitation, I kick out and leap to the side. However... He's not having a good day, is he? Something slams hard against the back of my skull. The impact sends me flying. My vision swims, my mind already fading. I find myself unable to stand. Then the world fades to white. Not to black. Oh, we're getting Morse code now. It looks like it, doesn't it, Ron?
おいおい、こいつ全然起きねえぞ。一発蹴りでもかますか？
Yo guys, this chump ain't waking up. How's about I kick him around a bit?
ヤマトさん、乱暴はやめようよ。
Don't be so violent, Rowdy. I hear voices nearby.
飛脚パイセンに賛成。暴力とかマジないっしょ。水ぶっかけるくらいでよくね。
I tote side with Dolfo here. Violence is so not cool. Why don't we just, like, dump a bucket of water on him instead? That idea is just as extreme. Downtown, let's try and consider our options rationally.
もしや心配が止まっているのではないか
How many people do we have here?
心臓マッサージを
Mayhaps his vital organs are unresponsive. I shall administer a cardiac massage at once.
その必要はありません。どう
No,
やら目を
no
覚
need
ま
for
してい
that. I
るんです
think
よ
he's waking up. I open my eyes, but my vision is blurred. The dizzying pain in my head is unbearable. There's a constant ringing in my ears, and my body won't move an inch. Yeah. A wave of nausea comes over me, but I manage to stop myself from groaning.
僕は痛い。
What happened? I vaguely recall being hit by something the moment I stepped into the manor. At last, my vision finally clears up.
あなたたち。
Who are you people? When my eyes refocus, I've met with several unfamiliar faces and a sturdy rope binding me. I'm tied up, surrounded by a group of strangers. What in the world is going on?
おい、てめえ侵入者こら！
She's got big eyes. I need to put this light on, it's getting a bit dark, is it? You lousy intruder. A girl in a sports jacket grabs me by the throat, glowering menacingly. She looks to be in her early teens, but her strength is incredible. I can't get a peep out of her while trapped in her iron grip.
本部で待ち伏せたいい度胸してんじゃねえか。
Yeah, got some stones jumping us on our home turf. Who are you spying for, huh?
大和探偵さん。
Calm down, Rowdy Detective.
落ち着いてられる
To
か
hell
よ。
with that.
こいつは
This
俺たちの
Jamoke
仲
might
間を
have
ぶち殺した
some of her
犯人か
own.
もしれねえんだぞ。
Plus, he won't even give us an answer. I ain't just gonna let that slide.
いやだけど
Well,
首を締め上げたまま
he
で
can't talk if you're actively choking him now, can he?
え
Crap. You got a
科
point.
学探偵の
Techie
言う通りだ
detective.
な
Sorry, intruder. My bad. 100%.
本当にすまねえ
Did she collapse or where did she go? No. The girl in the sports jacket lets me go, then immediately falls to her knees, touching her head to the floor as she apologizes.
顔を上げてください気にしてませんか
It's
ら
okay. You don't need to grovel about it. I'm still in the dark here, but I get that you have every reason to suspect me.
その通りだが
That checks out, but they don't make us right. One bad turn deserves another, so come on, hit me.
痛いのそんなことしませんよ
No way am I going to do that. Besides, I can't. I'm all tied up, so please stop bothering.
実は
I have literally no idea what's
全
happening.
然わからなくて
Who are all of
混
you?
乱してるんです
What is this island? What's going on around here?
何なんです
As I ask the so-called rowdy detective my questions, the boy in the wheelchair approaches us.
自らの意思でこの島を訪
I
れた
take
わ
it
け
you
では
aren't here of your
ないん
own.
ですね
By volition.
詳し
You
い
say you aren't informed on the situation, right? Yeah, all I know is that Senior Detective brought me here.
連れてこられたらしいんですが同志探偵が
Senior Detective? The boy, called Techie Detective, cups his chin in thought.
先ほど眼球運動を確認し
I
た
checked your eyes to verify you were unconscious.
間違いない
We'll just assume it wasn't a self-induced ruse for now. But Senior Detective bringing you to HQ?
で連れてくるなんて
That doesn't sit well with me. Where do you fit in with the rest of us? What do you have to do with the Quarter and Duke investigation?
八つ崎法事件の捜査にどう関係があるおい科学探偵
Yo, Earth to Techie Detective. Oh, sorry, I was lost in
ごめんな
thought.
さいちょっと考え込んでしま
Rowdy Detective pokes Techie Detective, snapping him out of his trance. He dips his head in apology. As I'm confused as ever right now, but I have heard of these two detectives before.
この人たちの発
Does that mean that all of them are...
まさか鳥間その人の縄を解いてあげね
Anyway, we should let the guy loose. Keep drilling him while he's all tied up and people are going to think we're into this kind of stuff.
待って渋谷探偵さん
Hold on, Downton Detective.
あ
Oh, she's got a plaster on her nose. What? Sorry, it's just a... We should wait a bit longer, I think.
縄を解
She's got 2 plasters on her. 3. Does she keep hurting herself? The trendy girl responds with indignation, causing the frail boy to tear up. Nevertheless, he doesn't back down. Our enemy wields a deadly poison that can kill over 20 people. If this is him, he could wipe us all out just by scattering a trace amount of it. Being him without at least a part-time would be far too dangerous. Oh yeah, I guess. I got a little antsy there. My bad. Even though her idea got rejected, the trendy girl called Downtown Detective laughs as if nothing happened. Thanks, Dofo Detective. No wonder you're number 14. Mad props. Nonsense, I'm just paranoid. Still, I don't want any more victims, like all those people in the research facility. If anything, we need to be overcautious. Then, the somewhat androgynous youth speaks with a voice full of fear. Victims, like those in the research facility? The comment catches my attention, but now isn't the time to be asking questions. Instead, I hold my tongue and continue to watch in silence. Fear not, Sir Doleful Detective. Even should his intentions prove nefarious, I, Armored Detective, swear to protect you. The armoured man rests one hand on the youth he called Doleful Detective, and the other on Downtown Detective. Armour, physical exertion is a lot for me, so I appreciate it. Though the boy smiles at Armored Detective, Downtown Detective waves off the gauntlet, looking utterly repulsed. Yeah, oh good. I'm good. You're like suffocating me. Would you back off, number 32? You recall my rank, despite mine being the only one here that is lower than 30. My heart is stirred. I swear on my life to protect you. Take a hint. How annoying can you get? Armored Detective happily strides closer to Downtown Detective. He doesn't seem to notice the look of genuine disgust on her face. Moving on, we should touch base with the Chief on our D-pads. We're lucky our device's signals allow us to communicate from the manor to the research facility. A man who looks like a corporate employee joins the conversation. He holds a familiar tablet-like device in his hands. A D-pad, the trademark of the Detective Alliance. My heart beats fast in spite of myself as I guess at the nature of my company. Thanks, Workaholic Detective. You're always so quick on your feet. Adulting 101. Plan, do, check, act, haha. As for our sleeping beauty here, I got in touch with the chief, and he is indeed a fellow member of the DA. To be safe, I'd like to confirm with you directly. This is no mistake, right? Right, no mistake about it. Though, I only just got my D-pad. Honestly, I'm completely new to this. Everything clicks into place as I speak with the man referred to as Workaholic Detective. I knew it. They really are part of the Alliance, and these aren't just any average members. They're so famous even that nobody like me knows of them. There could only be one possible reason why a group of detectives like this would be gathered here. It was the same thing I had been brought for, to discuss how to handle the Quartering Duke. They're all here for that meeting, no doubt. The only question that remains is, why would a new recruit, who lacks even a proper alias, be here at Detective Alliance HQ? Were you also invited to participate in our discussion regarding how to deal with the Quartering Duke? Yes, Senior Detective explained it to me. Oh, that's right, I have my own D-pad too. So, the one in your shirt pocket really was yours. My apologies. I took the liberty of searching you. What? When? I don't know how, but Workaholic Detective is clearly holding my device. The fact he could swipe it without my notice is terrifying. Now then, if you would allow me to borrow your hand for just a moment. Workaholic Detective grabs my hand to bypass the D-pad's fingerprint authentication, navigating to the message application with practiced ease. He seems to be checking my invitation to the Quartering Duke meeting, which I had been reading just before I fell unconscious. I see. It's the exact same message as the one I received. It appears you truly will be joining us. Relief washes through me, a workaholic detective smile, but it doesn't last long. That being said, anyone capable of infiltrating this island would have no trouble faking a simple email. Workaholic detective smile turns grim. His piercing gaze cuts right through me, making my body flare up with goosebumps. Making rousy knockoffs, eh? You're asking for a one-way ticket to hell, pal. Courtesy of my fist. You don't give off that unique presence the rest of us detectives have. Just who are you? We lack sufficient data for any conclusions for now. We have no choice but to keep him under surveillance until we can find out more. The other detectives watch me warily. Their eyes make it abundantly clear that they're on high alert. I completely understand why they suspect my exceptional circumstances, but that doesn't make their looks sting any less. Dwelling on doleful detective's unsettling remarks earlier leads me to wonder what happened to the Detective Alliance.
まあさ、怪しんでばかりじゃ拉致が開かないし、鳥間うちらに同行させりゃいいんじゃね?
Look, being on edge won't help us at all. So why don't we just, I don't know, bring him along? We still gotta find old man Senior, so it's not like we have time to stand around arguing. Our minds are as one, Lady Downtown Detective. I fully concur. Let us treat him as a compatriot until more evidence appears. Our minds are miles apart, weirdo, but whatevs. Call me an airhead, but I'm with armor on this. I think it'd be chill to take him with. Besides, I know my mystery stories. Splitting up would be like total suicide. Huh? Mystery stories, you say? Techie detective smiles wryly as rowdy detective grabs the rope tying me up. Downtown's got the right idea. Rowdy detective tears my restraints apart as if they're made of paper. I can now move freely, except for my bound hands. But still, with raw physical strength, it's hard to believe a girl smaller than me can be so powerful. Trusting each other is exactly what the Quarter and Duke wants. So for now, I'll trust you too. I wish you'd asked before acting, but at least I do agree with the notion. My search didn't turn up anything suspicious. Until further notice, you'll be coming with us, seeing as this is a race against the clock. I'll have to catch you up as we move along. Thank you. The detectives head out, one after another, now that the mood has lightened up a bit. Why are they just holding the door open for each other? Now that the mood has lightened up a bit, I can't help but let out a sigh of relief. I've seen plenty of suspects get interrogated in mystery novels and shows, but never did I expect to be the one in the hot seat. Life sure keeps you on your toes. That reminds me, what should we call you, intruder? You don't have a detective alias yet, right? This is your chance to pick one. My name is... It's definitely not, is it? They're very odd. Very weird bunch. I barely stopped myself from answering, down to detective with my real name. Keeping your name secret is the first rule of the Detective Alliance. It could be deadly for your identity to get out between cases. That's why, upon joining the DA, members are given a one-word code name based on a defining characteristic of theirs. That code name is known as a detective alias. I've longed to have one of my own ever since Mr. Ganjoji told me about them. My detective alias is, Despite my yearning for one, it's hard to think of anything on the spot. I have no experience, skills, or defining characteristics. To be perfectly honest, I couldn't even begin to guess why I was let into the Detective Alliance. What? Is it that hard? You're older than me. Shouldn't you have more life experience? Like, seriously, dude, I can't even... with you. Sorry, this is really embarrassing. Well, let's think of one together. What are your skills? Anything you're good at in all the cases you've been in so far? I'm good at finding cats. They like me. She didn't like that. Down Down Detective gives a deep sigh. My amateur status fills me with shame.
じゃあ無能探偵ってことでよろしく。
Alrighty then, how about we call you Incompetent Detective? What? Now that's just cruel. You might as well be saying I'm good for nothing. I mean, not that it isn't true, but still. I'd obviously prefer a different name, but before I can object...
他のみんなもいい
Hey everyone, until we think of something better, this here is Incompetent Detective, okay?
大和団地らしい
Nice, a humble fitting for a young gun. Itching to find his place in the world.
飛脚探偵さんや社畜探偵さんと同じく
I see.
特徴を
So it's a
形容
cart.
タイプの名前なんですね。
Caricature of your traits, in the same vein as doleful and workaholic.
一緒に頑張ろ
You're one of us now, Incompetent.
呼び名があると
A name with which we can call upon your aid deepens our bonds.
頼むぞ
I am at your service, sir, Incompetent.
このご利用しなく
Picking on the new guy takes me back.
気を思い出す
Incompetent detective rapidly gains the approval of the rest, so rapidly that it's too late to dispute it, much to my chagrin.
う。秒で定着してよかったね。
Look how fast your new name caught on. I'm so happy for you, Incompetent.
全然良くない。
It doesn't make me happy at all. Despite my protests, Downtown Detective ignores me, flashing a devilish smile. Thus did I become Incompetent Detective, an official member of the Detective Alliance. When are we going to get past the novel bit? Well, they're all opening and closing the doors again. A bright red carpet covers the floor and landscape paintings adorn the walls of the corridor. The detectives explain the situation as we walk down the passageway, the scent of the roses on display around us drifting in the air. It's all been reading. I've been doing this for like an hour and a quarter.
君が連れてこられたこの場所は地図にすら載っていないことだ
I've seen screenshots. There's
この絶
like
海のことを本拠地として
there's like a turn-based strategy type grid and everything, but I don't know where that is yet. This location to which you brought us is an island that doesn't appear on any map. The DA has used it as a base of operations for years.
本部の2つの建物
It has two buildings, Snarks, a research facility, for investigation support and gear development, and Gormenghast, a manor for overnight stays.
とに分かれている
It's very strange.
本来私たちが
The original plan was for everyone to discuss the situation in the manor. We were to review dioramas of various quarter and duke
全
cases.
員で推理する手はずだった
だったというのは
That was the plan? Rowdy detective suddenly punches the wall beside her, causing the other nearby walls to tremble from the impact.
俺たちが到着
When we
した
got
時
here,
に
a
は
bunch of detectives from HQ had been snuffed out by poison. All 22 members of the research facility gone. All 22 of them?
全員
Every hair on my body stands on end at the unthinkable news. None plebs. Apart from ourselves almost. How are you doing? Yeah, I'll do the shout out after these adverts. I think there's adverts coming in. Even among history's more infamous mass murders, few had a death toll of more than 20. Killing 22 people at once is beyond all reason.
犯人はまるでゴミでも扱うがごとく
Definitely.
我らの仲間の死体を積み重ねていたのだ
The culprit piled their bodies at the facility's entrance as if they were naught but rubbish. Such savagery is no less than inhuman.
無能先輩があの死体の山を見てたら
Seeing that heap of corpses would have killed your appetite big time, Incompetent. And the poison gas filling the room would have killed you for real.
下手したら行かなくてラッキーだったかもね
It went fine, yeah. Got quite a bit done, so... And it's been a very nice day here, so far. Lucky you didn't go in there, huh? Oh, but we did. A heap of corpses. Just imagining it makes me feel faint. And then that's not even taking the deadly gas into account. Maybe senior detective knew about the gruesome scene, so he sent me straight to the mom instead. That would also explain why he hid me in the forest and went off on his own. I need to find him soon and thank him for keeping me safe. It was another quarter and Duke attack, right? Yeah, exactly. We're not sure yet. For how many deaths there were, the clues are awfully scarce. Quarter and Duke cases always result in two concurrent victims. This crime would appear to have a different modus operandi. The Quarter and Duke did him in, no doubt. If I catch that skulking around the island, I'm a clean as clock. You're welcome. It's said that the Quarter and Duke has killed over 100 people, but even that was over the course of half a year. On the other hand, murdering 22 people at once, all of them first-rate detectives, no less, could hardly be the work of an amateur. I get the impression that he commits grisly deeds for the thrill of it, but otherwise, his identity is a complete mystery.
僕らは当然研究施設の捜査を始めたのですが、その途中でリーダーのデバイスに生き残った同盟のメンバーからこんな連絡が入ったんです。
We began our investigation at the research facility, but then the Chief's D-pad received a message from a surviving Alliance member. Techie detective draws out his D-pad and plays an audio file. The senior detect. Someone attacked research facility, all dead. I hiding in Gornagast. Chief, meet there, help. The recording cuts off there. Although the sound was low and full of static, even I could grasp what it signified. That's Senior Detective's voice, isn't it? He's alive then, thank goodness. Yes, I'm certain that's him. Making it through this situation unscathed. It's no wonder he's a legend among detectives. Is he really that incredible? You know the Dallas Night incident? It still shows up on the news. Not only did he solve it, he's also found a member of the DA. The Dallas Night incident? Even school textbooks talk about that case. And you're saying he cracked it? I was a kid then, so I don't remember much, but it was the worst terror attack in national history, sparked by a new religious movement. From that event onward, criminal atrocities swept the nation, which is part of why the Detective Alliance was formed. Solving a case of that magnitude would absolutely qualify him as a legend. Originally, we'd split up from the other detectives and headed to the manor to reconvene with Senior. Smoothly. It must be a villain most foul for even Sir Senior. I hit the wrong button. You mean there are other detectives here besides you guys? For sure. There's, what, 6 more investigating the research facility? It's like a Detective BOGO sale. Buy one, get one. I don't quite get what she means by that, but I guess it is a lot of detectives. I'm still reeling from the heinous murders we've yet to unravel, but at least now there's a glimmer of hope. I believe we've searched every room, but there's no sign of Senior. Maybe the culprit arrived here before we did. Senior would have realized that and escaped. If the message was intercepted, the culprit could easily have gotten ahead of us. Oh yeah, I can see what's happening. It took us, what, 10 minutes to get here? But there's only one path from the facility to here and it's surrounded by sheer cliffs. No one could escape without us noticing. The detectives process the situation with impressive speed. I'm barely keeping up as I struggle to understand what it all means. Downtown's casual chit-chat is about the only thing that makes any sense to me. This room doesn't get wireless internet either. Why bother having a phone then, eh? This is such a major bummer. Even if there were a router here, I doubt it would do you any good. Oh yeah, why? Because the island's off the grid? Not exactly. I tried connecting to a wired network in the research facility, but I couldn't get it to work at all. I made another attempt here at the manor a moment ago, but that failed too. The island's communications antenna must be down. But our D-pads can still link up to each other, right? What's the diff between that and our smartphones? We're a detective that's that's been drugged and sent to this island to join up with the rest of these detectives to solve some serial killer mystery. But we haven't actually done anything so far. We've just been reading. Well, the D-pads have a unique communication system. As part of the R&D team, I must say it's truly amazing tech. Basically, it works by... Okay, we get it. So I can't even, like, chat with my followers while we're here? Could this be any lamer? I prefer to see this as an opportunity for us fellow detectives to deepen the bonds of our camaraderie. Guess it can. That's it. You gotta be kidding me. Rowdy detective starts crawling on all floors like a dog right at the entrance of the room. She presses her face to the carpet with a sharp expression on her face. What's wrong, Rowdy? I can smell it. They don't let her talk with chat. No, exactly. Very lame. Silence fills the room. The others all turn to look at Rowdy. Yeah, they missed it thanks to the rosy smell and red carpet. But the floor's got blood on it, see? From the entrance to them flowers. Rowdy detective approaches an empty vase and sticks her hand in it, pulling out a bloody knife. Bingo! Don't know which poor mug's sauce this is, but I'll tell you one thing, some goon was on the loose in here. How did you even notice the smell? The blood is already dry. Been hunting with my old man since I was little. I've got the nose of a bloodhound, eyes of a hawk, ears of a rabbit, and a raw macho spirit. I'm also convinced that helping on hunting trips would give you those kinds of abilities, but it's astonishing nonetheless. Rowdy, that knife wasn't used here, was it? Yep, nothing in this room but traces and stains. Guessing they only came by to hide the knife. I can track the scent, but the hall's chock full of roses. It ain't gonna be easy with them smelling up the place. I figured as much, but that said... Techie, might you have an alternative method? Of course. I go by the Salies for a reason, after all. Techie detective proudly pulls a cute little machine that resembles a puppy out from his pocket. This is my tracking forensic friend, Sniffy Whiffy. The Alliance helped me develop him. He can tirelessly trace down any scent he registers, and his prime directive is to save lives. Yeah, hellish name. Furthermore, he has a small rubber treads to cover tricky terrain without disturbing the scene and can move up to 15 kilometers an hour. He's also equipped with a transmitter, so you can monitor him from the D-pad. Plus, he uses the same lithium-ion batteries that the International Space... Yes, that's all very impressive. We'd love to hear more about it later, but for now, why don't we start tracking? Alright, sorry. I get a little carried away when I talk about my inventions. Techie, detective, returns to reality, hanging his head in shame. Now, let's not waste any time. Use this tool. He's not a tool, this is my friend. Don't just treat him like some piece of equipment. Workaholic detective bows several times in apology for misspeaking. True to his name, he's the very picture of a harried office worker. Techie detective may seem calm and collected, but careless remarks about his inventions are a clear sore spot of his. I'd better watch my words. Sorry everyone for blowing up the kite. Let's get tracking that scent. Techie detective calms down, setting his dog-like tracking machine, Sniffy Whiffy, loose near the bloodstain. Sniffy Whiffy scoots across the floor, just like a real dog. He circles around a couple of times, then thumps into the room's door.
追跡が始まりました。
He's on the hunt. Let's open the door and see where he goes.
先に進んでもらいましょう。
I open the door, and Sniffy Whiffy darts out of the room, barreling down the hall towards the stairs. All I can pick up is roses, but he must have zeroed in on the trail of the blood.
大したもんだな。
Yeah,
でも全然嗅ぎ取れねえっての。
we're called incompetent. We're the incompetent detective. That's the name they gave us. How about that? My nose wasn't getting jack squat.
正確には匂いではなく。
Strictly speaking, it's not the scent, but rather the air particles that he tracks, hence why he isn't thrown off by other smells in the vicinity. So much for that whole nose of a bloodhound spiel. I think my nose is what got us this lead in the first place. Sniffy Whiffy stops at the painting just before the stairs to the entrance hall. Sir, Sniffy has halted. Could this be the site of the stabbing? No tin for brains. I don't see a blood stain, do you? The knife must have been used somewhere else, like behind the painting. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Plobs. Behind it? Whatever could you mean? Is there a world within the painting? To think the stuff of children's fairy tales could actually exist. He's so thick. Relax, Armor. The answer is clear if you think it through logically. Workaholic touches the painting as he inspects the frame. He then gently taps the artwork before pressing his ear against it. Aha, no question about it. There's a hollow space behind the painting, which means that if I shift it like this, still touching the painting, Workaholic Detective moves his hand. A secret door. The entire wall around it slips back like a sliding door, revealing a hidden passage. Sniffy Whiffy, who had been waiting in place, begins moving her again, right down the newly discovered path. I think they are. How did you figure that out? Trade secret. You pick up a lot when you've been on the job as long as I have. Damn, Gramps, you've got me rethinking my take on you. No cap, I might even like... I don't kind of sort of respect you now. I wish you wouldn't call me. I'm still in my 20s, you know. Barely, but it still counts. Workaholic Detective turns red in the face as Downtown Detective slaps him on the behind. That blade was used somewhere up ahead. As we know not what may occur, I shall stand in the vanguard. Wait up, Bucko. It's wide enough for two, see? I'm taking the lead too, so keep your eyes peeled. Rowdy Detective tries to push forward, but is stopped by Doleful Detective. Ashley, would you mind guarding the entrance with Techie and Downtown, Rowdy? I think my abilities come in handy here. Armor and Doleful Detective are to spearhead our foray into the secret passage, with me and Workaholic Detective following after. Rowdy, Downtown and Techie Detective would remain at the entryway, acting as lookouts in case the tunnel is a trap. As for why I'm being brought along, it's probably because I won't be able to escape in this tunnel. I'm struck by the fact that Workaholic, the most experienced of the group, had definitely assumed a position beside me. These detectives don't miss a single beat. Alright, Armor and I will lead the way. As he speaks, Doleful and Armor Detective enter the tunnel together. Workaholic and I continue right behind them. The four of us descend down a spiral staircase that winds its way underground. We've been here. At the bottom is a gloomy underground tunnel. We proceed into it, using the light function on our D-pads to guide our way. The only sounds are our footfalls echoing the tunnel, as well as Sniffy Whiffy's treads crawling across the floor ahead of us. The air is dusty and reeks of mould, making it hard to breathe. Clearly this place is seldom used. My love of cleanliness aches to ventilate the place. Doleful Detective's eyes narrow as he travels the tunnel. His usual fearful countenance is tense, as if he's an entirely different person. You thought they were cicadas? Impressive, is it not? Doleful's intense concentration, that is. Workaholics detective whispers to me as if he's reading my mind.
彼の序列は14
Rank number 14. He solved over 100 cases and survived just as many bloody encounters as his veteran
修
detectives.
羅場の数は
Over 100 cases solved. The idea leaves me alone leaves me speechless. We can't be that far apart in age, and yet his track record is on a whole other level. What sort of heroic life has this seemingly gentle boy led up to now?
さっき飛脚さんが言ってい
What
た
did Doful mean when he said his abilities could come in handy here?
じきに君も身をもって知
You'll see soon enough. He possesses what we in the Alliance would call the makings of a great detective. Doleful detective stops in his tracks.
武装さん止まってください
Armor, stop!
どうしたのだ
What happened? Sir Doleful, your leg is
足が
bleeding.
出ているぞ
Armor shines his D-pad's light on Doleful detective's leg, revealing a trail of blood beneath his knee. Something reflects in the light just ahead of them.
足
There's
元
something at your feet.
何か
おそらく
My guess is that it's a trap to ward off intruders. Judging by the texture, it must be some kind of wire.
ワイヤーか何かだと思う
He's right. When I get close to the reflection, I see red dripping off an extremely fine wire. It was so razor thin and difficult to see that, were it not for the blood, it would have been nearly imperceptible, even in direct light.
探偵
This is
開発中
the
の
wire
そうか
so the Detective Alliance is currently developing.
どうして透明でそんなも
Why
の
would the Alliance make something like this?
密室の錠前をこじ開けたり
Why has he got
拉
a
致や
pen
拘束された時の護身用
for
だ
cutting locks to enter sealed rooms?
本来は
Or as a means of escape when
使う
restrained?
ものだって
Word is that it requires special gloves to handle.
素手では触ら
Best avoid touching it, given its intended use. It's so sharp that, with enough pressure, it could cut straight through human flesh.
切断可能な切れ味だ
It's a good thing I noticed it then. Workaholic detective produces medication and bandages from his pocket and begins applying first aid to Doleful detective's leg.
ひどい怪我だけど
This is a rather nasty cut, but you're lucky to get off this lightly. Anyone else would have been liable to lose a leg in your
切
position.
断されていてもおかしくなかったよ
Maybe, yeah. Click, 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 click. Situation like these are about the only time my special skill ends up
他
useful.
の役に
体質って
Special
一体
skill?
どういう
What do you mean by that? For some reason, Doleful detective struggles to reply. Workaholic steps in to answer on his behalf.
飛脚君は昔から
Doleful is a danger magnet, with a knack for close calls, from traps to wanted criminals, to finding murder scenes and
今
even
回のような
evidence.
飛脚君はこれまで
His innate intuition and powers of insight are what have allowed him to
境
survive
遇を生き抜いてきた
such less than fortunate circumstances.
だから名探偵
So that's how he has the makings of a great detective. In stories, detectives are always expected to survive, even when wrapped up in a personal case, and even when their life is on the line. And now I'm standing in front of a real-life detective who embodies that very trope.
そんな大それた
It's not that impressive. In fact, I say I just bring misfortune to everyone and everything around me. It's kind of a miserable existence. Yeah, his power's bad luck. Doleful detective's expression flickers as he touches a bandage on his wrist. The countless traces of medical attention covering his body shows just how much suffering he's constantly endured.
だけどその分
Still, it's made me more sensitive to threats than the average person.
僕の
Always,
脅威の気配なら
I can always sense when I'm in danger. So just think of me as your shield.
僕がみんなの
I see the resolve within Doleful Detective's eyes as he speaks. He and I may look similar. I might even be the older one, but nothing in me competes with that look. We couldn't be further apart.
飛脚殿
Sir Doleful, you needn't be so reserved. Armored detective abruptly steps forward. He then swings his arm up before bringing it down to chop the wire before us.
武装さん
Armored detective, that wire can cut steel. Just because you're wearing protective covering doesn't mean...
心配無用
Fear not. The suit in which I am clad is a product of my family's long-held secrets. Behold the strongest armor known to man. The wire parts with ease. Sure enough, Armored Detective doesn't have a single scratch on him. Both Doleful and Workaholic widen their eyes in incredulity.
どのような罠にかかろうとも
No matter the trap, mine armor shall prevail. Set your minds at ease and allow me to take the
通り
lead.
立たせるといい
だ けど
But putting me in front will minimize the total risk for our team as a whole.
リスクを
仲間が傷つく
I
かもし
can't
れない
stand idly whilst my companions are hurt, despite my
お
inadequacies.
主らの盾となる
I hastened you here to be as an aegis for each of you.
承知でこの場に
So was I.
発表されたのだからな
So was I. Armored Detective speaks with a calmness that eases Doleful Detective's taut expression. Despite the latter's brave front, he might have been nearing his limit. Thank you, Armor. In that case, I'll stay back a bit and keep an eye out. Armored Detective takes the lead as Doleful acts as I look out behind him.
武装さんすぐ前方
Armor, I sense a threat right in front of me,
脅威の
about
気配
head
を
height.
感じます
またワイヤーだな
Another wire in. Understood. Without a second thought, Armored Detective swings his hand towards the area Doleful Detective indicated. Sometimes Doleful's warning comes too late and Armor runs into a wire, but even then it never leaves a mark. He continues safely through the darkness, until,
発信機の反応を見るに
based on the signal, the tracker has stopped 5 meters ahead. It would seem we've arrived at the scene where the knife was
ナ
used.
イフが使う
This is just like it's just a visual novel, isn't it? There's been no actual gameplay so far. It said there was going to be puzzles. We finally make it to the end of the tunnel with 0 injuries. Save for Doleful Detective, of course. Sniffy Wiffy is parked right in front of a steel door, which means the bloody knife was found earlier and must have been used right behind it.
武装君申し訳ないが
I hate to ask, Armor, but would you mind taking point?
何を言っているの
No need to apologize, Sir Workaholic. My armor exists for the very moments I must forge such paths. And yet, Armored Detective looks tense as he cautiously touches the doorknob. Goosebumps ripple across my body. Deep down, I get the overwhelming urge to scream, "Don't open it!" It's as if my mind somehow knows that what we're about to see is truly horrific. I have an extremely bad feeling about this.
3つ数えると
I shall open the door on the count of 3. 1, 2. The doorknob makes a click as it turns. My heart rate leaps, but I can't bring myself to look away.
3つ
3. A blinding light flashes as the door opens, forcing me to avert my eyes. Yeah, exactly. There's so many traps. On top of that, a metallic stench envelopes me. The way it sticks to my throat makes me cough. However, none of the other detectives show even a hint of fear as they proceed beyond the door. I hurry to follow them, but at that moment... Doleful Detective's cry echoes out. As I step into the room, the first thing I see is the ground dyed in crimson. The red spreads across so much of the floor that at first I mistake it for a carpet pattern. But there's no way that's the case. Despite my hateful disbelief, the smell filling the air tells me that this is blood. With each breath, the metallic stench fills my lungs, my stomach, my whole body. I am assailed by an overwhelming urge to vomit. If I lose focus for even a moment, I know I'll wind up spilling my guts out. Upon closer inspection, I notice something floating in the ocean of gore. It's large and reminds me of a caterpillar. 4 other long, thin objects surround it. In a way, they resemble a quartet of lifeboats, all rowing in different directions away from a sinking ship. But in truth, they're human limbs scattered about across the floor. Before us is a scene devoid of life. A man whose name I don't know gazes at me, his head half submerged in a sanguine sea. My eyes are transfixed as I stand there in a daze. There's a biting chill, as if the temperature has dropped by quite a few degrees. My hands and legs tremble. I can barely stand. Every ounce of strength leaves my body, which no longer feels like my own. I muster up all the willpower I can, only to topple over on the spot. Is this all just a bad dream?
現場に出くわすのは
First crime scene, huh? I know it's hard to take in, but try not to look away.
目を
Without any concern to spare for me, Workaholic walks towards the pool of blood.
ヒゲ君武装
Doleful Armor, head back up and fetch the other 3 detectives. After that, I'd like you to ask the chief to come to the manor.
するから
He sums up the heart of the matter in a low voice.
殺人事件だ
It's a homicide. Someone has murdered senior detective. Regardless of how detached he remains while objectively stating facts. It doesn't change the reality we're facing. A middle-aged man's corpse lies dismembered, his limbs strewn across the room we stand in. For the first time in my life, I am confronted with a murder scene. Okay, we're on to chapter 1. Was that just the prologue? Two hours. I stand in a corner, my mind completely blank. This is my first time witnessing a murder scene in person. Sega's death is seared in my mind, but this is different. Someone I know lies torn to pieces in a vivid sea of blood, dead. I'm no great detective, and although I tried to steel myself, coming face to face with a scene like this has me too weak to stand. Even once I regain my footing, my legs still struggle to remain upright. The metallic stench of fresh blood is one I'd never be able to get used to. I breathe through my mouth as much as possible. If I had the choice, I'd sprint out of this room with this very second. Workaholic detective ignores me as he investigates the corpse with meticulous efficiency. He and the victim must have been well acquainted. His pained look when he found the body suggests that his mental burden is far greater than mine. Yet despite that, he shows no sign of weakness. How much experience solving homicides would it take to become a detective like him? I can't even fathom it, the way I am now. The other detectives, who had been summoned by Doleful Detective, are unable to hide their shock at the sight. What's the big idea here? I thought Pops was supposed to have made it. Did he get off while we were rushing out for here? That's like so sad, it's not even funny. But that doesn't make any sense. We arrived at the manor 20 minutes after seeing the detective's message. For someone to chop a body to this extent, hide the weapon and escape in that amount of time is scientifically impossible. This level of blood loss would preclude liver mortis, and rigor mortis hasn't even set in yet. I may be stating obvious, since he called us just prior, but the state of coagulation indicates that he was killed less than half a day ago. Let's re-establish the order of events. Senior contacted us at 12:40, and we then split into teams and headed to Gormenghast from Snarks. Since we arrived right at 1300, we can safely assume the crime occurred in the 20 minutes it took to travel from the facility to the manor. Yeah. Question, Downtown. Isn't there a chance that the criminal could have, booked it before we left Snarks? Not at all. We headed to Gormenghast as soon as the senior contacted us. Had the killer tried to escape, we'd have surely seen them en route. Thus the killer must have been within the manor when we arrived. Yeah, exactly. I can hoof it for days, but it'll still take me 10 minutes to run down the hill to the facility. Your theory checks out. So, the key question is this. Is the perpetrator still inside? Let's consider the time frame from when they could have made their escape. We found incompetent in the entrance hall and spoke for a time, then made our way upstairs 50 minutes later, so around 13:15. After that, thanks to Rowdy and Techie, we discovered the hidden passageway at 13:34. You can see the entire entrance hall from the corridor before the hidden passage, so escaping undetected would be a challenge. If the killer was in the manor, their only chance to escape would be the 20 minutes we spent investigating the second floor. Ergo, it is highly probable that they are in fact still within the manor. But wouldn't 20 minutes be more than enough time to slip away? You could make it outside easily enough, but the real problem comes after the fact. Yeah. There's only one path from here to Snarks, and no place to hide. The jig would be up if you were seen from a window. It simply isn't realistic. Exactly. I have made my point of checking out the windows, but I didn't see anything or anyone suspicious. Stop, no one's in the entrance hall right now, isn't that, kind of sketch-like? They could totally escape. Yeah, there's a whole forest. Oh, that's perfectly right. The chief is heading over from Snarks as we speak. If the killer tries to flee now, they're certain to get caught before they make it down the mountain path. They could have a glider, they could have anything. Or, which means the foul slayer does indeed still lurk within these walls. Alright then, in that case, let's head back up on the double. It's time for a good old-fashioned mouse hunt.
待ってくれ。洋館内に隠れるよりもずっと手軽で安全なごまかし方。
They could have all done it before we got here. Just a moment. There's more valuable method than hiding out in the manor for all this time. Workaholic points directly at me, drawing the focus of the other detectives.
無能君。
Incompetent. If you're the killer, then there is no issue regarding the timing. It would all be entirely feasible. So they think we killed him. My voice cracks as I'm caught completely off guard. Exactly, because it was just a message, wasn't it? Me, the killer? How does that make any sense?
単純な話だよ。
It's simple. All you need to do is hack up Senior, then lie in the entrance hall, faking unconsciousness. Easily done in 20 minutes.
犯人がこの
If the culprit was unable to escape the manor, we can only assume that said culprit is you.
考えるほかないんだよ。
何を言ってるんですか。
What you're saying? There's no way I could chop someone apart in 20 minutes?
それに
Not to mention all the wires that were set up along the underground passage. How would I have gotten past those? I raised my voice in protest without thinking. Even with armor and Dolphal's help, getting through that passage took 5 minutes. It's hard to imagine anyone like me with no special traits making it through so quickly.
なあ、そこが問
Ah,
題だ。
there's the real conundrum. I figure I used some sort of trick.
何らかのトリック
At any rate, I doubt it's necessarily impossible.
だ。
どういうことですか。
What do you mean?
耳を澄ましてごらん。
Listen closely. Can you hear the voices above
声
us?
が聞こえ
He's right. If I strain my ears, I can pick up sounds coming down from the ceiling. Who are they coming from, though? We should be the only people inside the manor right now.
構造上。
In terms of layout, our current location is directly beneath the entrance hall. I presume that what we're hearing is the chief arriving at the manor.
この地下室は身を隠すための部屋。
As this basement is likely a hiding
頭
spot,
上のエントランス
there may be extra space between the floorboards so that noise can drift in from above.
広くして音が響く。
Now that he mentions it, my own eyes spot gaps in the ceiling where light is filtering through. As Workaholic Detective said, it must be coming from the entrance hall above us.
ともかくこの地下室
Regardless, the rooms are vertically adjoined. One could greatly reduce the time required to move between them by means of some gimmick.
例えばこの地下室の
You could say tamper with the floor of the entrance hall, creating a gap wide enough for a person to slip through the basement
一人が
ceiling.
通れる隙間を作るとかね。
It's usually the butler, isn't it? Yeah. Workaholic's relentless reasoning leaves me overwhelmed. Even if there is a gap, there's no way someone my size could fit through it. Still, he's right about one thing. The entrance hall and the basement are awfully close together. How can I possibly clear my name now that we know it's possible to move between them? Well, you would have thought so, wouldn't you, Vituri?
ちょっと秒で結論出しす
Aren't you
ぎちゃう
jumped into some major conclusions here? It's not like you could prove there isn't a hole connecting the ceiling to the entrance.
そんな悪魔
Your
の
whole
証明みたいな無理難
Forbideo
題を
Diabolica bit is just bullying him into a corner.
like
Talk about a total mood killer.
渋谷殿の言う通りだ。
Lady Downtown is the right of it. So long as any such gimmick remains hidden, your accusation is out of the question.
我の必殺
Perchance my plasma knuckles, capable of winning any bout, could make such a hole, but still,
いや
a punched out hole wouldn't close back up anyway.
そもそも
First things first,
20分で大人
is it even
の男性
possible to
の体を
dismember an adult male to this extent within 20
どうで
minutes?
しょうか。犯人を男性だと仮定しても
Even if the killer himself is male,
決断しなければ
they would need an
難しい
extremely deft hand at amputation to pull off something so difficult.
血抜きや皮を剥ぐ
Not
必
like
要
you'd
がな
need
い
to
し
skin him or bleed
狩
him.
猟になってる
Any
やつ
hunter
が
could do it.
可能
Hell,
だと思
it would have been a
う
snap. Why was the crook?
俺ならやれ
じゃあヤマトさんが犯人って
So
こと
safe to assume you're the culprit then.
自信がある
I just bet I could us all. There'd be no time to deal with all the spurt and blood
間
anyhow.
違いないしな。
いや
Actually, I'd say there was. Workaholic probably shares my thoughts on that.
君も気づいたようだね。
So you notice as well. It's true, one could dismember it in a body in a short span of time. She did, she fell for it.
にも使用された
If they used those wires we
この
encountered.
ワイヤーソー
As he speaks, Workaholic holds up a blood-drenched wire. Unpleasant as it is, I'm reminded of how easily Doleful Detective's leg was cut earlier.
まさか
You mean someone used this wire on Senior
一
Detective?
探偵を。
なあ
Yes, in fact, it's possible the senior detective was already wrapped up in these wires when he got in contact with us. He may have done so under duress, after which the wires were pulled, slicing him into pieces. All that remains then is for the culprit to escape.
そのワイヤーはさっき見張り役の皆さんを呼びに行った際に
I chanced on one of those wires again when I went to get the others. My foot happened to slip on it since it was coated in blood.
付着した血の量からして
Based on the amount of blood, it's clearly not the same wire you first encountered.
犯人は
The killer must have anticipated this, getting past the wires in the passage and discarded it on the floor there.
通路の床に捨てたんだろう
I've only got 5 more minutes left. And we still haven't got to any gameplay. Or perhaps the killer themselves set the traps in order to hide the murder
ワイヤー
weapon.
の罠を設置しておくともかく現状では無能君を犯
I'm
人
pretty sure there is.
追えないんだ何か反論があるなら
Either way, we have no other recourse but to suspect incompetent for now. Speak up if you have any objections.
僕はやっ
I didn't do it! I shout on impulse. Regret fills me almost immediately. I'd say the same thing if I was guilty, as would anybody in my shoes.
無能君がやったなん
I refuse to believe incompetent did it, but that's all the more reason for us to find out what really happened.
ああ私も
Agreed.
同意
I don't want to accept that a fellow DA member would do such a thing. As a detective, pursuing the truth is paramount.
として
Workaholic fixes me with a steely look. I want to speak up, but I don't know what to say. I've reached my limits just processing all these theories. There's no room for me to make my own deductions.
おい待てよ
Hold up.
無能の
Ain't the idea of incompetent being the perp a bit
ち
too,
ょいと状
I
況
don't
が
know,
露骨すぎねえか
far-fetched?
俺にはわかる
You ask me, we got the wrong guy here.
別根拠は何ですか
Do you have any evidence to support this? I'd like to know why you don't suspect incompetent.
俺の勘がギンギンに
Call it gut feeling. I'm usually dead on the money with these sort of
俺
things.
の勘はよく当たるんだ
That's downright scientifically impossible.
推理は
We need to base our investigation on solid proof and logic. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, random.
だとこら喧嘩売ってんのかてめえはよ
Back off, Poindexter, you're looking for a fight.
はいやめ
Okay, time out. No more fighting, guys. You're like seriously harsh on my vibe.
だけど科学の坊ちゃんが
That little
よ
punk was the one who... It did say chapter 1 earlier, didn't it? So hopefully it's saved there at least.
じゃんだよね科学ちゃん
It's not like Techie said he full-on suspects incompetent over there. Am I right?
ええ結論を出すのはまだ早い
I simply believe it's too early to confirm or deny that
何らかの
hypothesis.
方法で
We can't rule out either conclusion yet. The culprit could have fled, but they could also still be inside the building. Sorry about that. I might have gotten ahead of myself there,
俺はまた
again.
先走った真似
Workaholic detective claps his hands, interrupting the discussion.
それぞれに思うところがあ
It
るんだよ
appears we have a number of opinions.
今から
I'm going to the entrance hall to
リー
meet
ダー
the
を迎えに
chief.
行くから
Let's investigate this individually after
自由に
that.
捜査を進める
待つのだ
Halt, sir, Workaholic. We have many detectives assembled here already. Ought we not to join forces and confront this case together?
だけど
Perhaps. But even in this short amount of time, our conflicting opinions have already come to
今
light.
私たちは
Each of us seeks to tackle this case through a starkly different approach. Collaborating in these conditions would only work against us.
同感ですね
I concur. I'll proceed with my investigation in my own way, calmly and scientifically.
科学的
なんだよその
What's with it, Claire? You got a bone to pick with me or something?
悪かった
I already apologized at the end of the day. I'm human. I'm gonna get where I need to be by following my heart.
なんだろうよ
それでは探偵
That alone ought to disqualify you from this line of work.
だとこら
Like hell. It's all over once a detective forgets what it meant to be human.
ああもう落ち
Oh my god, just cool it already. I literally just asked you not to fly off the handle. Downtown detective does her best to intervene as Rowdy shouts at Techie. Doleful stands beside the three of them, flustered and directionless, as Armour and Workaholic continue their heated debate. It doesn't seem like the investigation is going to start anytime soon. We could have told them that 2 hours ago. Just like Workaholic Detective said, everyone's playing this by their own rules, so no one is taking the lead. Everyone, I want to suggest we all work together, but the words die in my throat. There's no way I could be so bold when I'm the prime suspect. I know that, and yet I feel like I need to say something. My fist clenches. Unlike me, each of the detectives here has their own talents and strengths. It's my incompetence that really drives home how amazing they are. But that's exactly why I need to speak up now. Now's not the time for arguing, wouldn't you say? I chime in, but my voice comes out so softly that no one hears me. Together, these detectives could solve any case, and yet here they are, arguing. That angers me far more than being a suspect. I failed to save someone again, even though senior detective was so close by. What's the point of being a detective if all I can do is sit around and watch these things happen? My self-loathing mounts as I listen to them bicker amongst each other. My position in this situation doesn't matter. What's happened to me isn't as important as getting these detectives to work as a team. Everyone, please listen. The other detectives turn to face me. Naturally, they all look rather dubious. I falter for a moment, but desperately push on. I know a lot of you suspect me, that's fine. There's a lot to suspect, and I understand that. But can't you all just at least try to cooperate? Cooperate? That's a tall order. Our personal modes of investigation are hardly compatible. Right. I don't think we're ever going to get into actually any gameplay. I'm going to go out to I'm going to go to the page, the store page. And I'm going to see what screenshots and that there is there. Can I not? Do I have to type this in again, do I? What was it called? Process of elimination. Exactly. Where's the gameplay? Oh, there's process. Of. No, I wanted of. I need a space. How do I get a space? Of. Elim. Oh no! How do I get a space and is it going to find that if I do that? Oh, it found it. Okay. Right. Let's have a look. How do I get onto the next screen? Oh, there. We've seen that. We've seen that. See, this is what I was looking for. This is a map of the manor. See how each detective position is marked. Detective's next action, such as infer, inspect, will be... There's the gameplay. And you've got abilities or something there. Have doleful detective inspect something. So you're going to be inspecting the manor. How can they have 2 hours worth of just chatting before they get onto the actual game? That's it, is it? Okay. So there is actually gameplay somewhere down the line. That's far too long, isn't it? To get to the actual gameplay? My voice is going to be hoarse. Right, I'm going to stop there, because it's just...
What cheese can you live in?
I never asked you
What
anything.
is cheese?
Alexa's talking to me. So there is gameplay. But yeah. Thank you for the story. That's your bedtime story, Random. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me just flick over back to my other screen here. Might go black for a second. You're all going to sleep well tonight. Oh, it was so long. Yeah, nice little murder mystery before bed. I'll have to get back and see if I can get the other gameplay at some point on that to see what it's actually like. That was just far too long. Right, I'm gonna see if I can find somebody to raid. Let's see who's on just now. Yeah, we never got past the... Well, we got past the murder, but we never got to actually try and solve it. Disco Elysium. Sorry, Mitchell's on playing Disco Elysium. Oh, Johnny Isle is playing the first Broken Sword game. Why don't I raid Johnny Isle? Yeah, we'll raid Johnny Isle. What did? Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you for all the chatting and having a bit of a laugh there. I'm gonna have to go to get something to lubricate my throat. Right, I shall be back tomorrow morning. We're doing Zelda Breath of the Wild. Same on Sunday. So I will run my credits and then, which take about 20 seconds, and then I will raid over to Johnny Isle. So thank you again for being here. You all take care, be safe, and I shall say bye for now.